What is going on, good people of the internet? It is time once again for us to sit down as African American nerds, as blerds, as black nerds, whatever you want to call us. We are here once again to talk about things that we love when it comes to nerd culture, when it comes to culture itself, because we kind of broke the barrier a little bit last week with different controversies and whatnot. But we are here once again for a bonus episode for you good people. I'm talking, of course, about our show, Blerd Grounds. You can follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Blerd Grounds. You can check out the website On Comics Ground on Twitter and Instagram at On Comics Ground. And you can check out our website on comicsground.com. Put some hyphens between those words for me. That way you can check out all of our reviews, previews, solicitations, all that jazz every weekday for you good people. And you can listen to this podcast on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher Radio, Spotify, all that good stuff. I applied for iHeartRadio. They have a 14 business day waiting period, the longest of any platform I have ever applied for, like worse than Apple. Like, what? Okay, but anyway, that's my little like annoyance for the day. Because I finally got the email back, like, oh, there's a 14 business day waiting period. What? Anyway, my name is James Portis. This evening, we do have a special guest with us, but in terms of our general cast. The only one that I have with me this evening is the hardest working woman in Seattle, Miss a woman that never lets the wings go because she's always serving them to the good people of Seattle.
Really are on
Miss Jasmine, how you doing?
Every episode, it's about the wings. Do you want me to send you some, James?
No, because I got a wing stop. I'm good.
Okay, fine then. I was offering, but you know what? If you don't want them, it's fine.
How would you send me wings like a safe away?
I don't know.
That ain't worth it.
Styrofoam cooler.
That ain't worth it. Anyway, Jasmine, how are you doing this evening?
I'm good. I'm excited to be here. I'm excited for our guest. Yeah. I'm chilling.
Okay. And then, of course, we have the amazing, the beautiful, the amazing writer of...
You said amazing twice.
Okay, but like, I'm hyped. Why are you mad? Like,
I ain't mad. I'm just pointing it out.
That was so rude. Anyway, okay. So we have the writer of the Nightmare Verse series, A Blade So Black, the current release, A Dream So Dark, and a future release coming out soon. We have the woman writing the upcoming Nubia series coming from DC, young adult brand, because they got rid of Ink and Zoom, and I don't know what they're doing anymore, and it's really frustrating. Like they've closed Vertigo and said they were doing this young adult stuff, and then they closed that too. But anyway, that's more bitching from me as a comic book fan. But anyway, we have the amazing L.L Mckinney with us this evening. How are you doing?
I'm doing fabulous, and I share your frustrations.
See, my frustrations are valid, Jasmine.
I never said they weren't valid. Listen, you just a little long-winded. That's all.
You're right. But anyway, like anything beyond what I just mentioned, is there anything that you want to plug? Your social media is all that jazz.
Sure. You can find me in my online shenanigans. I'm mostly on Twitter. It's at L on Words, and L is spelled like the magazine, so it's L on Words. And my website is LLMckinney.com, and you can click for like Pinterest and Instagram and Facebook and all that, because you know my online shenanigans, and YouTube, where I mostly post like play of the game from Overwatch and stuff like that.
That's awesome. That. I didn't know that either. I just found it on the website. Oh my god!
I haven't updated in like some months because you know Blizzard's still in the midst of pissing me off. But
what are you playing on?
I play on a PS4 and sometimes on my PC when it decides it wants to cooperate.
We gonna have to link up. Who you main?
I am a very disgruntled and salty Mercy main. I'm so salty. I've been salty for years. But when I'm not playing her, I swap between Diva, Sombra, and Symmetra.
Okay.
Oh, this website slaps. What the heck?
Oh, when I first pulled it up yesterday, I was like, damn, this is actually really intuitive. Is this Squarespace?
I have no idea because I'm not the one who built it. I got to shout out to my girl, L. Lewis. She did my website and it is amazing.
It is amazing.
It's pretty dope.
Oh, yeah.
I told her I wanted to do like this, you know, I do urban fantasy. I want to kind of have that magical like cityscape feel. And she's like, I got you. So it just, everything's on there.
Nailed it.
See, okay, I want to get back to that urban fantasy thing when we talk about your series, because like I know there's a lot of like frustration from the Black community about that phrasing. So
Yes.
we'll come back to that. But
Yes.
this past episode of Blerd Grounds that was released on Friday, we talked about the recent issue of Barnes and Noble taking it upon themselves to release brand new covers for all their classic books, such as Frankenstein, Alice in Wonderland. Ironically enough, we like Wizard of Oz, Romeo and Juliet, etc. Moby Dick was one that was like, really, why? And a couple others. The Secret Garden got one of all things. But anyway,
yeah, I saw that. That don't make any sense, but okay.
I'm like, rich family, really?
See, here's the thing: is that people come at this operating from the idea that this started out with people thinking it would make sense.
You're right, but no, like the whole concept that they had called it the diverse editions of all these different books in an effort, like with Penguin House Productions, to basically give tribute to Black History Month and try to like promote diversity in literature.
That's the other thing. There's not just Black people on those covers.
Well, the thing is that they launched it as part of their celebration of Black History Month. And I guess the whole thing was, and also on top of, Black people being on these covers, you have this plethora, like choose your fighter out of all these people of color. So here you go.
I need to like edit some Smash Bros music in there for a second.
It's a whole mess. It's just like, But my thing is it's indicative of how publishing feels about non-white stories and non-white tellers of these stories, because they would rather put time and effort and energy and money and resources into this than actual Black authors and Black stories during Black History Month. Like that was the choice that was made. And I am of two minds of this. It was, either way, it was deliberate. But either it was, it never even entered their realm of thinking to be able to boost Black voices. Like that even during Black History Month was just like low bar, y'all. Like we put it, there's a whole month. It comes around the same time every year.
It's the shortest month of the year.
It's not going to sneak up on you. Like if you want to plan for 2025 Black History Month starting now, you could do it. I promise you the dates are going to be there. But they had all this and it never even crossed their minds. Or, heaven forbid, there was some poor Black person or some other person of color or, two or three, because I have been that, one of two or three people of color in the room who speak up about a thing only to be told it's not a problem, to be shouted down, talked over. And then, however many days later, I can't say I told you so because then I'm sponsoring a hostile work environment.
Oh my
However,
God. I feel you on that.
Not only did I told you so, but I told you so many times and every time I could.
And what's crazy is that like not only it was that they had a golden opportunity to promote Black writers and artists with this, it comes off very tone deaf, which you were even quoted in an NPR and a BuzzFeed article, like from your tweets about it, where you called it literary blackface.
Yeah, that's what it is.
You flat, like you were even very like real with the fact of this doesn't even tell any of these. Any of these are all white stories.
Yes,
like
they are. Like in the canon, they are white. That's just because the white default, these stories are the foundation of the white default, which is what people don't.
The white default.
Because that's what it is. And we've all had it. Like you have to train yourself out of it, a good number of the time where you read a book. And if the race of the character isn't mentioned, it defaults to white in your head.
That's why there was a whole controversy with Hermione when they had her on the play.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they cast a Black Hermione.
And it's one of those things where it's like, yes, finally, one of the things like part of me did imagine, okay, what if Hermione could be Black? What if we're talking about a Black girl? I didn't see Hermione as Black because not a damn thing J.K. Rowling wrote was Black. I'm just saying.
Like in book one, she flat out says that Dean Thomas is a Black boy. Like she says flat out, he is a Black boy. All she said about Hermione was that she had bushy hair. So there was no indication that was a thing.
That's the thing, though, is that people don't understand that white is the default because white doesn't get mentioned. It's everybody else who gets mentioned, which is why when nothing is mentioned, white. You've already embedded this in us because that's what the old writers did because they didn't put books, characters in the book unless you get, nigga Jim. Like that's what you get. That's what you get. I'm just saying. That's what it is. That's like he literally came out
and honestly, that. I still find myself falling into that trap. So yeah, it's ingrained. It's ingrained.
At this point, I deliberately go there. If you don't mention to me on the page that this character is whatever, they're white in my head. I'm going to consider them white for the rest of the book. I don't care if you come out and say later on that they were whatever. You didn't put it on the page. And I've had people write me letters and say in reviews that it's very off-putting that every time Alice sees somebody new or sees them for the first time, even if she's seen them many times, she mentions their race with the exception of the people. Yes, every single time. The only people Alice doesn't mention specifically race-wise are the people from Wonderland. And that's because there are no races the way that they are in Wonderland. Like the princess in the story, she, as in Alice's head and in my head, she looks like she's from India. And Alice isn't going to say Indian because there is no India in Wonderland. So she will describe her skin tone. And so if she doesn't describe the person's race flat out, she describes their skin tone and what they look like. Because even there's one mention of a random Chinese woman on a train who tells Alice to watch her language. Like it could have just been a random old woman, but no, I don't care if you say that you're colorblind, which is one, a cop out, and two, ableist.
I hate that so much.
And it's very much that, of course, you see that that's a white woman. You might not think anything about it, but you can see that that's a white woman.
Yes.
So it makes no sense that in Alice's head or whoever's head I'm in wouldn't say that.
Jasmine, I really like her. Can we keep her?
Yes, please.
Like I large amounts of alcohol, particularly of the brown sort, to be.
I mean, like normally on Thursdays we drink before the show.
You drink.
No, Marcus and I drink.
That's what I said. You and Marcus.
Anyway,
I'm sober. I'm very sober all the time.
There has to be like one rare time, Jasmine.
I think never mind. I can't say that on.
Anyway, but no, like to swing back to the Barnes and Noble thing before we dive into the books. Like the statement that was released by the company that was very polarizing to me about the entire subject.
I didn't see the statement. This
you haven't seen the statement? Ooh.
Listen, I've been avoiding everything that has to do with.
I purposely skipped it, like because like right before the show, I had mentioned to Jasmine about you coming on, so I was like, I'm gonna save this. We're gonna talk about it tonight. Because I don't know if I read to Aaron, he'd probably get really mad. That's why I was like, let me just tone this down. But anyway, the statement released by Barnes and Noble was a project inspired by outreach work with schools and was created in part to raise awareness and discussion during Black History Month, in which Barnes and Noble stores nationally will continue to highlight a wide selection of books to celebrate Black History Month and great literature of writers of color.
That's not what they did, though. No,
that's not. I waited for the pause because I knew Jasmine was going to say that.
That's literally.
I mean, publishing is good for releasing statements about this is what we meant, not what we actually did, and we only mean it because we got caught.
An apology. That's not an apology. That's not an acknowledgement of what they actually did.
Apologize.
Oh my God!
Acknowledge that they actually did some shit wrong, please.
That sounds fake.
And like they're trying to seem sympathetic, like, "Hey, we actually care." Like, it's what it is. Like, no, stop it.
No, you care that you got caught. You care that because there's been rumblings within publishing, because authors talk to each other and we talk to other industry professionals, and it's the same thing with American Dirt, right? There were people who knew this was going to be a problem. Ooh. And they went through with it anyway. And I don't mean just the people of color who knew this was going to be a problem. No, they knew this was going to be a problem, but they were counting on one, it being a brief problem, and two, it not being a big problem.
James, do you know about the American Dirt fiasco? I didn't bring it up because it wasn't about.
Isn't that the whole thing that like Oprah tried to bring on that one book, but then it was written by a white woman?
It's.
I saw about it on the Philip DeFranco show, and I was like, "Ooh, this looks rough."
It is rough.
Yeah,
she's a white European woman, no less, and she's trying to talk about
her Puerto Rican grandma.
Yeah,
that wasn't a thing until this happened. Because up as early as 2016, potentially early 2017, she was talking all kinds of ally shit, right? Like, we as white people need to do this and be aware of this and blah, blah, blah. Now that your ass is getting dragged, oh, well, now you better go. Okay, honey. You want to pull out the flag?
Oh, God. Oh, my God.
I'm technically Latinx myself, is what she's trying to say. No.
That's not how that works.
This works.
That's not how any of this works, as that one like Facebook commercial goes. Like, that's not how this goes.
Like, you can't keep your grandma hidden over here and then pull it out when it can A, save you, B, make you money. No.
Oh God, it's just such a freaking mess. My God.
The thing is that that's a bit. What's hilarious to me is she's sitting over here talking about how she's not white or whatever, but that's a very white person thing to do.
It is.
Isn't it?
That is whiteness in a nutshell. That is whiteness up and down, and you want to
That's the other thing I was going to mention about the entire campaign about redoing these covers with people of color on the covers, is that there is this notion nowadays that like diversity sells, and that like people of color will flock, which is, I mean, that's true.
That is true.
Didn't know any better. But the other thing is that, like, A, it's like this, we don't exist to make you money. And B, that's not entirely true at all, because I do know how freaking hard it is for authors of color to actually get book deals.
Oh, it's still hard. It's still hard.
Still.
And the thing is,
people want to talk at that point at the outliers like Tomi Adeyemi and Angie Thomas and them. And they're like, oh, but that, and I'm like, honey, if you can name me more than 5, auction,
yeah, I mean,
7-figure deal.
Mediocre white authors get book deals all the freaking time. We have to be phenomenal. We have to be out of this world good at writing in order to get anything, in order to get scraps.
And we don't get paid as much unless they think they can exploit. They love exploiting Black pain. They love exploiting the struggle narrative. And the brutality narrative. And they love to throw African fantasy up there as if Africa is one big ass country.
and like, don't get me wrong, like, there's been great things like your books. There have been like the Children of Blood and Bone, and then recently we even got the announcement that the one Rick Riordan spinoff book, like the Punches the Sky book, is the first one out of that entire diverse set to get a sequel.
Yes.
Like, there has been progress, but for them to like say that there is no Black books we could have spotlighted instead of just make tone deaf covers like this. Like, it's appalling. Like, why couldn't you do a Google search? Like, Afrofuturism has been on the rise since Black Panther. These books have been selling out constantly.
They would have to care about it to Google it.
Oh, you're right.
They would have to care about it to Google it, because that shit right there is research. And you either have to be curious or care.
Yeah, that's obviously that is not the case, because you put in so much effort, so much ridiculous amounts of effort to redo these covers when you could have literally spent 10 minutes compiling a stand of Black authors and their Black books. It would have. It's what they do literally every year. Why this time? Why would you do this? Why would you think this is a good idea?
So part of it is these books are public domain books. Yeah. Everybody who wrote these damn books is dead. They're not about to pay nobody, okay? They're not about to pay nobody a cent. So that's all money in the pocket, point blank, period, on that side. Secondly, when you can do this superficial hallow-ass bullshit, like when you can essentially, find replace race, which is what they're doing,
Find replace race.
You can
He's right.
This is what they're doing. Is
like
I know authors who have done this, where they're like, "Hey, I want to sell this story that I have. It's so much easier to be a Black person or an East Asian person or an Indian person and get these deals. I'm gonna go through and find every time I said milk or pale or fuck it, mayo. I don't know. I'm gonna go through and I'm gonna find and replace all of these descriptions. But then they'll.
But then that doesn't work because it doesn't sell in the first place.
For one, it doesn't sell, but it does sell when it's what? Because if find and replace race will sell faster and easier than actual authentic stories. Because find and replace race is something that because it's
be an author. Why do I sign on to this?
I ask myself that every day. If it wasn't for the fact that I love the writing part and I love talking to readers, oof.
That's it though.
But those stories are still essentially white because nothing about the story is affected by that person being non-white. So the person acquiring can connect to it. It's just they can slide right in, super easy. And so publishing would very much rather make $1 off of Blackness as much as it can. They would love to package it, the idea of Blackness, and use Blackness as a window dressing, but without Black content. That's where they draw the line. They don't want actual Black content.
That's so sad. That
it's true,
makes
though.
me sick. Okay.
Or if they do want actual Black content, they want us dealing with segregation and Jim Crow and in the cotton fields and slavery and all that type of stuff.
Because they want to hear our story rather than hear like the current story.
They want to feel better about this. Like these types of books and books like American Dirt and books like, they make white people feel good about having read the book. Like, oh my gosh, now I understand the plight of the Mexican. No,
my God, it's inspiration porn.
It really is. It's inspiration porn and trauma porn. And it's like, you understand the plight of Mexican as if your ass went down to American ass Taco Bell. Like, no. No. That's how authentic you are right now.
Ugh.
I'm loving this so much. Just letting y'all go on. Like this is greatness.
I have feelings in many words.
That's why I wanted you on here.
Yes. Okay. So you will definitely be back. I need to arrange this. Okay. So now that we've had a good
we haven't
ample
even talked
time
about D&D yet. Oh my God, L. Oh my God, we literally went through like 4 or 5 episodes where we covered the entire freaking history of Power Rangers, like all of it.
That is awesome.
It is.
I love it.
Oh my God. Anyway, Elle is also a Power Rangers fan. Anyway.
Yes, I'm is.
Yes.
So
I will be there for the sequel of this movie, which I thought was fabulous.
Thank you.
I'll fight somebody. This movie was amazing.
It won't be a sequel.
What do you mean?
They said it's not going to be a sequel.
What do you mean?
According to who? Wait.
Hasbro said they're just going to do another reboot or a continuation that takes place without them.
Why?
That's stupid. That was the only good iteration of Mighty Morphin.
It was so good.
You're right. Don't get me wrong. I hate Tommy just as much as the next guy. I'm sorry. I am a very avid Tommy hater. I'm sorry.
Okay, so you're straining our relationship right now. What?
Oh shit! Oh
no! Okay, so I have feelings, and I can name like 5 Rangers off the top of my head that are better than Tommy, and I hate the fandom around Tommy, and also I hate JDF as a person for the way that he has treated people and fellow Rangers.
Oh. See that I can get behind. I absolutely understand because I'm the type of person where I don't know shit about the actual people who play the things until they do some sideways shit, and then I find out, and I'm like, hell, that sucks. Fandom is also crap, just in general.
Yeah, that's true. I that's a big reason why I didn't stick my head in the
people are very much like super protective of their favorites. And while Tommy is a fave, I'm not gonna go to war over it.
Because don't get me wrong, like I respect him, but then there's that whole thing in Dino Thunder where Haley walks in and goes, "He's not the oldest, he's just the best." No, denied.
He's been around the longest. That's just. Well,
that's because he won't go away.
Everybody who was there, it's
called Austin St. John wanted more money and he left because y'all wouldn't pay him. That's why
not
Tommy
one of the
is
originals.
allowed to be the oldest.
He's one of the originals, but he's like the add-on that happens.
He's the DLC of the video game.
He's the original, as in he was there during Mighty Morphin. Nobody else, that came back and did whatever in any other stuff. Until what was it? Where all the red ones showed up.
Forever Red.
Forever
Red, yeah. Because I mean, if you want to ask me who my favorite Ranger was, I had a soft spot for Andros, Red Ranger.
Good people. Jasmine,
You
should I
called
tell
him
her?
Legolas. You called no.
Jasmine, no, Jasmine,
James.
should I tell her about
Face
psychopath?
No, absolutely not.
Should I
Do not, James. It's not worth it. I cried. L, don't let him tell you. Just disconnect if he tries to, okay?
Okay, just do not read the graphic novel Psychopath that came out recently. It will make you sad.
Oh no,
It's not worth it.
It will
It's
make
not
you
worth
sad.
it. It's
But
not
okay,
anyway,
well,
we'll have
just
to bring
gonna
you back for
pretend
more of this, obviously.
that's not a thing. Yeah,
Because we were
but he
already
was my
planning to
favorite.
we were already planning on having a part 6 to talk about Shattered Grid, so then we might have to work this out a little bit.
God. Listen, if they were smart, they would plug into this YA thing as well.
Oh
See?
yeah.
Thank you.
Just
I
off
am-
the strength of the nostalgia alone would sell.
I am ready and available
ton of
to
books.
write a tie-in for Power Rangers. Listen, that's it. That's all I got.
I'll write.
Okay.
You want a book for every ranger? I'll write nothing.
Oh, snap!
Damn life. Like, let me at it. I'll do it.
Okay.
Oh, God. All right, we got a little off topic.
Now that we done nerded out for a solid minute, how about we talk about your work? Because
Yes!
your work is amazing. So, well, like, for those who don't know, for those who have never heard of you, which is a shame if they haven't, it's not okay. We need to fix this.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, can you give an overview? And like, I know creators hate this. Like, I don't want to like insult your intelligence, because I've heard complaints from other creators on social media that they hate giving overviews of their own work. But for the sake of the casuals, can you please enlighten them about what the Nightmare series is about?
Okay, I was about to ask. I was like, so do you want my work in general or the Nightmare verse?
The Nightmare verse.
All of it.
So,
All
the
of
Nightmare verse is, and I use this all the time because it's succinct and it pretty much, encapsulates everything. The Nightmare verse both asks and answers the question, what if Buffy fell down the rabbit hole instead of Alice? Where there's a black girl in Atlanta and her after school job is crossing into Wonderland and killing monsters, which is, as one does in their everyday life.
Mm-hmm.
And so the first trilogy in the Nightmare verse is around her mentor ending up poisoned, and she has to venture into Wonderland further than she's ever been in order to find a cure, at the risk of potentially losing her own head, literally.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the first trilogy.
Excellent.
It's very succinct.
I thought you were going to continue, so I paused and
I've got this down to 30 seconds to a minute tops.
I love
Amazing.
it. And that's the thing. I don't want to like bang it over your head. Like, hey, talk about this thing. That's not fair to you. You have to do this
all the things.
We
This
can
is why
talk
I'm
about
here.
it. Snap.
So, like, now I remember when I was in college, my roommate at the time had gone through the effort of trying to rewrite Alice in Wonderland and fuse it with Wizard of Oz and try to make a gay version of Alice in Wonderland on top of the fact. So I like in terms of just
I'm kind of interested in that.
We ended up turning into like a musical, and we did like a live reading of it. It was
a musical,
but yeah, like it was for his final for the year, because he was a music major. But it was a whole thing, and it was a whole thing, and it's like I can connect them to you if you want, but it was a whole thing, and I've always been like encapsulated by the idea, like the question of why is these not why is Jesus, my grammar is horrible to say thing. Why?
You're doing great,
Jasmine. I'm alright. I'm so glad.
Sorry, go ahead.
I appreciate you, but no. Why is it one of those things that constantly is seen that older like fairy tales, older stories are needed to be like the backbone to help create new stories for our people?
So for me, it comes twofold. One, these are old stories that have been redone multiple times.
Mm-hmm.
So my book is by no means the first, but it is the first that puts a black girl in blackness front and center.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, I did a thread about this some time ago, and it was along the lines of how growing up Black in America, and now we have 23andMe or whatever, But beforehand, you didn't know where you came from half the time. If you were very lucky, you did. You were able to trace back to whoever, back to what dock, back to what ship, back to, a general idea of where they were taken away from. May not necessarily be where they were because, they carted people across borders and whatnot to these places to be shipped off.
Yep.
But I did not grow up hearing about the heroes and the folk tales of my people.
Yeah.
I grew up with these stories. And this idea that I can't claim what was essentially forced down my throat as my own, you didn't give me an opportunity to learn my history. You only ever presented this as the option in school and for reading and whatnot. And then when I want to do something with it because it's what I know, you have a problem.
Respect.
No. So not only did I just really like Alice in Wonderland, I have this whole thing with reclaiming not even just the American canon, because, the story comes from, everybody knows the Walt Disney version, but it goes beyond further than that.
Mm-hmm.
I want to reclaim this idea of the classic canon, because when lots of these books were written and published, Black people weren't allowed legally to read and write. So we didn't have a way to impact the canon at all, with the exception of a few people here and there. And then later on down the line, when slavery was abolished. And even after that, there was still this fight to be seen and heard, especially in the realms of science fiction and fantasy. So, this idea that you're going to force feed me these stories, but then you're going to cry when I decide to do something with them. No, we're not going to play that game.
And that definitely leads into a good question that we've seen across the board, from comics to anime to video games, over and over again the past few years, where we have the idiot neckbeards. And we was complaining last night on the panel about this, about the neckbeards who are constantly saying that Black people or women or people or LGBTQ plus anybody is not allowed to just take these stories and make their own with it. Or they're constantly saying, make your own shit. So how, what does that mean for you when someone says make your own shit?
Nigga, I did. And you're gonna deal with it.
That was great. I love that.
That's what I feel. It's like I made my own shit, just like Walt Disney made his own shit.
Yeah, you're right.
Not complain about me, and you're not gonna complain to him, and his family, who they own half the world now. You're not gonna complain about that. But me in my little corner of the world and my one singular Black Alice, I'm the one you have if you don't get out of my face. That's the way that I feel about that. And they can die mad as far as I'm concerned.
Travis would love you because he kept saying that last night when we were reviewing Birds of Prey.
Die mad.
It's super funny to me that people get mad, and I'm like, okay, so do y'all know that every time somebody buys a copy of A Blade So Black, somewhere in the world, a copy of Lewis Carroll's Alice Through the Looking Glass or Alice's Adventures Wonderland spontaneously combusts? That's what these mofos are out there. The fact that my book exists somehow takes away from all the other iterations of these stories. What? If you don't want Black Alice in Wonderland, go watch Johnny Depp in them or something.
Oh, Jesus.
Go do that.
I hate
Go read a book.
So much.
You don't even read a book. These niggas don't read.
What's even crazy is I was talking about it this past week where they're threatened by the idea of us trying to create or us trying to be intellectual and write or read or anything like that. So that not only scares them from that angle, but when we do create our own stuff, they're threatened by it. So
they literally don't want us to be great.
They don't want anything from us. They want us to just go away, and it's not something they can do.
My grandma and my grandpa, and rest her soul, my grandparents used to say stuff when I was a kid. I would be like, man, y'all off the wall. But as I have gotten older, I'm just like, y'all was right, and I wish I would have listened.
Oh, yeah.
My grandma was very much a woman who was like, I based Nana K, Alice's grandma, off of her a whole lot.
I love her.
Who she's very much like, they don't want the playing field equal because then they would have to deal with being inferior. They're used, and I'm not saying I'm just talking about the ones who make it a problem that we're even here to begin with. You know what I'm saying? The ones who have issue with us even showing up to the game are worried because they've been told their whole lives that they can be mediocre and win.
Yeah.
Well, when you even the playing field, now you got to show whether or not you actually worth this that you got now.
The ones who are threatened view us as a threat.
Exactly.
As they damn well should, because we are fucking amazing.
And then the ones who are out here doing the damn thing, you know, being artists and being amazing and, you know, not having this mindset, understand that the fact that some other great talent existing doesn't take away from them. And then you have some of them who are great talents, but other white talent existing doesn't bother them.
See, I love this so much. This is like I didn't even want to like fully like explain the whole series to him and go page by page. I wanted to like get like just the realness of you. That way, the power in you will let them like go to this book. Like just that alone, right there.
Oh, it's so good. I mean, that's great too. But I also want to say something. I don't like Buffy the Vampire Slayer or Alice in Wonderland, and I love your books. Like I love them.
I mean, Jasmine, aren't you excited we're getting a Black Buffy soon? Like, aren't you hyped about this?
I just heard about that, and I guess so. Again, I don't really like Buffy the Vampire Slayer, but I'll check it out because she's got brains.
I still think it would have been savage to get like a successor be Black, but like, I'm okay with this.
I mean, I'm good with the remake. You know what I'm saying? There's the fact that this Buffy exists will not go to the back and somehow to the past and somehow erase Joss Whedon's Buffy from existence.
She's just gonna walk up and stab Sarah Michelle Gellar.
Right? That stuff is gonna be around for the rest of forever. Why can't this be around as well? Maybe this one is better. Maybe this one is worse. Who knows? But let them both at least exist before you decide you want to start talking about stuff.
Yeah.
Now, Jasmine, you exist here too. Is there any questions that you want to ask this amazing woman here?
Literally, I could listen to Elle talk like forever. So, God, man, I don't know. Like, I'm really excited about the third book.
Oh man, that was.
We gotta wait a year. I'm not okay with this.
I know
that was gonna be a beast.
You know what? I can tell because goodness gracious. First of all, you are so good at cliffhangers. It makes me mad. But I read both books within a day. Not in the same day, obviously, but I went out and I got your first book like a week after it came out. And then I read that in a day. And then I got A Dream So Dark on the first day it came out. And I read that in a day. And then I had to wait an entire freaking year, which I bet you've heard that already. You know what? I'm not going to be a fan now. I'm just going to say.
Jasmine, you're valid.
Thank you for validating me.
You're valid. You are amazing. Don't worry about it.
It's okay. Like,
it's really
I get
good.
it.
I have to say this because otherwise it won't make the impact that I want. I have a really hard time reading. It's one of my executive dysfunctions. I used to read all the time. I used to inhale books when I was a kid. But nowadays I have a really hard time picking up books and finishing them. And the fact that I read your books as fast as I did and enjoyed them as immensely as I did, I literally cannot tell you what that means to me because I'm
so happy.
It was the first time that I felt, first of all, I connected to Alice right off the bat, which I have a hard time doing because I have been reading a lot more books with Black girls, with Black people in them, highlighted in them. But it took a while for me to actually get into that because for a long time I denied that I was even Black at all. So once I really embraced that part of me and I really started delving into that, I had a hard time connecting with characters who were like me. Even if they were Black, they weren't necessarily like me. And Alice is just like me. And I love it.
I'm glad.
Good. And it's so good. And you know what? James just asked me if I had any questions for you, and I just gushed about how much I love you. So
you can. I will take that as well. We authors simultaneously have somewhat big, but at the same time, super fragile egos because it's art, and it's a lot of time and effort. And one of the things that has come up, and somebody, it's come up in reviews and such, is that people will talk about how they maybe had a little bit of a hard time getting into the book, either via Kindle or via print. But then when they got the audio book, it just flew by. And that's because
have Audible credit I haven't used. I might have to do that.
Listen, Jeanette Illage is amazing.
I might have to look into that.
She does an amazing job. I recently tweeted, I have to find out, retweeted, but she has the prologue and the first chapter as an excerpt on SoundCloud. Macmillan put that up for both books.
Ooh,
that's amazing.
But she does such a good job. And the thing with Black culture is we can read and write and, tell printed stories with the best of them. But Black storytelling is a culture. We're an oratory culture. We tell stories out loud and to each other. It happens all the time. Like that's why some of the best comedians around are Black, because we're just good at telling stories out loud. And so I worked really hard so that the narrative voice of the book, not just the dialogue, but the narrative voice reflected that as well.
It is. It's so rich, and it's just good.
Some people have a problem with that. Some people...
I can't imagine why. I was sucked in for the first freaking paragraph. It was so
They call
good.
It choppy and,
they're wrong.
All this other stuff. And I'm like, well, no, my narrative voice, which is Alice, is not going to speak the King's English.
And it's like y'all didn't give Rick Riordan shit for having these kids narrate the books. Like freaking Percy Jackson was like having abbreviations. The boy had dyslexia. He was doing all this stuff. Why is this a problem?
They're not used to. See, people are used to when a character is talking, the quotation marks, or they're thinking, the italics will cue them into this is in the character's voice. So if you don't connect with that entirely, it's okay. This is how they would talk. You're all right for having to, maybe understand it. Maybe you catch the gist of it. Cool. But when it's the narrative, which people are used to having it a particular way, the storytelling itself is different. That sets stuff off for some people, especially people who are not used to the way that we tell stories.
I guess they're valid.
When you say that, well, that makes a lot more sense.
I'm not saying that it's valid. I'm just saying that's how it is. Because my thing is, like, even if you don't understand the narrative voice, I've had to listen to the narrative voice in all these old ass books for I don't know how long. Freaking, what was it? The dude Ivan Kaniskevich, A Day in the Life of Ivan Kaniskevich, and what was the one with War and not War and Peace, Crime and Punishment? That it. I don't really. I've had to deal with that my whole life.
I just got into The Witcher, and it is thready.
People try and emulate the masters, quote unquote, and I'm like, they're the masters because they dead and gone. They weren't popular while they were alive.
That's
how it goes.
Like very rarely, most of the people who are part of the classic canon, they died broke and people thinking they were ridiculous. So
it wasn't until later where they actually were appreciated.
And me, I'm like, well, where did this appreciation come from? Well, who decided all of a sudden that this dude was cool? Because I don't see it.
I don't like a lot of classics, to be honest with you.
No, me neither.
I can't do it.
That's why I'm rewriting them.
Get it. Ooh, okay.
Real fast, if we have time. I don't actually know. Do we have time?
We have time.
Elle, I wanted to pick your brain about spell check.
Sure, yes.
I love Spell Check. Spell Check is the campaign, the D&D campaign that she's in with a lot of other YA authors.
Yep.
I didn't hear about this.
It's really
you
good.
didn't tell me about this.
I did. I recommend. You were like, hey, I need other.
No, this is not happening.
Podcast to listen to, and I said, you Spell Check, and you
this is a lie. You were like, oh, but Critical Role. I'm like, F Critical Role. I'm tired of it.
I did not say Critical Role. Critical Role is 3-4 hours long. Okay, I did not say Critical Role. I said Taz. Okay. Anyway, what was my question? I don't know. Just like I just wanted to talk. Could you talk about Nina? Could you tell us about Nina?
Yes, absolutely.
Excellent.
So
Nina Lim Sigam is my elven boss. And when Molly Owen, who's the author of The Merciful Crow, and the upcoming Faithless Hawk, she approached us and she was like, "Hey, you guys, you wanna do a D&D podcast?" And I, already in 2 other D&D campaigns, was like, "Sure." And so I was like, "Are there any parameters?" Because some people are like, "You can't have these types of characters and this type of magic and whatnot, and blah blah blah." She was like, "No, you can be whatever you want." And I was like, "I'm gonna be a black elf." Because you're not gonna tell me black elves don't exist. I mean, she wouldn't, but people, how they be getting, especially since black people kind of maybe sort of showed up in the Hobbit movies. Well, I mean, not really, but we were in the background. But that was enough to bother people. But anyway, folks are like, elves. What? There wouldn't be any black elves. What? Why not? Because elves live in forests in the north. Elves, my nigga, elves. You're trying to tell me that black elves don't exist? Period. If I want to, that motherfucker gonna be orange. Anyway, so I made Nina, and I made her. She's salty AF. She doesn't like people, because I don't like people, like as groups, as society. Like I do individual small groups, but like on the whole, people kind of suck. I mean, let's just be real. She doesn't like people. She's not even self-centered because she knows her worth and she knows what she is capable of doing and what she will or will not do unless it's worth it to her. And that has come up several times throughout the campaign. People have been like, "So you're really not going to do it?" No. As a matter of fact, hell no. Now, if you can make it worth my while, then sure. But I'm not going to go out here and risk my life because the power of friendship. That's not how this works. That is not how this works.
I feel like she would get so along with the rest of the cast, like for D&D.
Oh yeah, I ran a little miniature D&D campaign for my new time D&D folks, my podcast mates, and it was fun.
Yes, we broke the boss, and she was bad.
I was really salty, but it's fine. It's fine. Yeah, no, Nina's amazing.
I might have to go watch this. Oh my god.
It's a listen. It's on
I can watch with my ears.
No, you can't. You actually literally can't. And I love Nina a lot. I also have a black elf. Her name is Mona. So the fact that you have a black elf named Nina and I have a black elf named Mona is really entertaining to me. Yeah. You forgot the bit where she's inspired by Janelle Monáe, though.
Oh, that's right. She is inspired by Janelle Monáe. There was a picture.
Who's currently tearing it up on the Oscars right now?
Yes.
Oh, hell yeah.
Oh, that dress was. But her outfits are always just amazing.
Oh, always.
There's a picture, and it's just one of those pictures that appeared upon the internets one day, and it's been like passed around. I think if you Google Janelle Monáe elf, you'll probably see it.
I'm gonna do that right now.
But that's why I was like, well, her sound and her style are very heavily influenced by Janelle Monáe, and she played the kora, which is an instrument from Africa. And it's beautiful because I YouTubed and listened to songs, by the masters and whatnot. And thanks to magic, she can shrink it and carry it around like a guitar because it is hefty. So that's her instrument. And her instrument is named Pink with a Y.
I love that.
And Nina Nina's go-to spell is Vicious Mockery.
It's great.
So she has literally killed people by screaming at them, "You ain't shit, bitch ass." That is how she has killed people, by cussing them out. And I love it. So yeah.
See, I had a whole thing where like I purposely wanted to make a gnome cleric who was a grave cleric and literally was like Billy D. Williams if he was a cleric. And like everything but the Colt 45. Like I made him gay. I was like, I'm gonna make him Billy D. Williams. I'm gonna have him just sleep with everybody, but not really, because we don't do that in the campaign. But he's a cleric. He gonna break his oath and he gonna be himself, and I love that. And it was great. Like I kept doing spirit guardians, and Jasmine would get mad at me. So like I definitely.
Oh my god, Elle, they rolled so good.
We kept getting nat 20s, and she was so bad.
That is hilarious.
So good. Oh my god, I was so mad. I had to raise the DC for literally everything.
That is hilarious.
And then when I beat the final boss by like, hey, do your wisdom saving throw, because like spirit guardians. And then it was like, oh, I hit just the right amount of dice to beat her.
I had a dragon, Elle. I had a dragon.
I have had, oh my gosh. It has kind of evened out now. We don't do a whole lot of rolling in spell check. At least we haven't for the past few episodes, because we haven't had to fight anything. Though there was lots of killing shit early on. But now it's one of those, we're in between quests, and so now we have to go off and kill shit. But another campaign that I'm in, that I've been going, oh geez, how long? I want to say 3 years, maybe 4 years this campaign has been going. And I have, okay, so at one point he was my gay human undead barbarian. Ooh. He was Death Knight because he had been brought back from the dead.
I love him.
And so now he's been restored to being alive, because he kept having to kill people to stay alive. It's a thing you have to do every couple of days, or you turn into a shriveled corpse. So now he's a paladin. He used to be a barbarian. He grew up, as a barbarian, but then he found out that, his family had this secret, and, they were protecting this goddess, blah, 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 story time, whatever. So now he's a paladin who has no idea how to hell to paladin. And it's the best thing ever. He literally will surprise himself because he will accidentally divine smite shit.
I love it.
He doesn't know. So I have an extra set of dice over to the side that whenever he attacks something, my DM has me roll it to see whether or not he does or doesn't. Whether he means to or not doesn't matter. Whether or not he divine smites something.
Isn't D&D great?
Doesn't know how to not do the thing. So it's a lot of fun. I greatly love.
Okay, that was amazing. We will have to talk more about D&D stuff later, because I'm hyped now. But no, okay. So to round this out, I wanted to have a discussion because like it was announced early on in 2019 that you were going to be part of whatever we're calling DC's young adult brand now, because they don't know what the hell they're calling it. It was DC Ink and Zoom, and then they scrapped the names, and like I don't know what they're doing now. But anyway, it was announced that you were going to be writing this Nubia young adult novel.
Yep.
And my heart was so happy. It was so because it was just because any time that a DC Black character can get some shine, I'm the first one on top, because I'm like, where's my Black Lightning book? It's the best CW show. Where is it? Like I'm frustrated.
Yeah,
I'm frustrated.
So my thing was, I have for a very long time been very frustrated with Nubia's fate, both on and off the page. She's either ignored or she's regulated to being, an average Amazon. And that's a relative term. Amazons are badass. And so being an Amazon is an amazing feat. However, this is Wonder Woman's twin sister, and you will put some respect on her name.
Ooh.
So, and that's where that's one of the things that, to the point where people will be like, oh, it's Black Wonder Woman. Like, no. She has a name. Her name is Nubia. She's Wonder Woman's twin sister, made at the same time, and canonically has been the only one who's been able to put Wonder Woman on her ass every time. Like, Diana can't beat her. This is canon, okay? She's the only one. And And so for her to go from, that to just some random Amazon that Diana every now and then talks to, I was just like, I'm not going to be okay with, well, at least she's there. No. It's 2020, 2019, 2020. We are done with the, at least it's, no. If don't come to my dinner table and disrespect me with this horrible takeout, whatever it is, when everybody else is bringing their absolute best. No, it's not acceptable. I don't care if, you're lucky I showed up. Then stay your ass at home.
Ooh. See, that does raise an interesting question now that you said that. How did you feel that Nubia was kind of shoved to the side in the Wonder Woman movie for them just race-changing Artemis? That just popped into my head right as you were speaking, and I felt like I needed to get your thoughts on that.
Wonder Woman, that movie.
Ooh.
I greatly enjoyed. I will say that. Let's get the good. I really enjoyed the Wonder Woman. I cried during the No Man's Land.
Of course.
Because it was powerful. I had not seen a woman in that position. Now, there have been women superheroes on screen, However, for her to be the focal point, to be the one that, they're following her into battle, she's the powerful one. She's the most powerful one by far. No one else comes close. Like throughout the entire movie, no, until you got to the end, and then fucking Remus Lupin comes out of
Thank
nowhere.
You for referring back. No one ever gets my joke.
That was so wild.
He comes out of nowhere, and but of course, it's a god. But throughout the movie, nobody else held a candle to Diana. And so No Man's Land made me cry. Then the think pieces started. How this is such an achievement for women of all creeds and walks of life, and blicka, blicka, blicka. And I was just like, but it wasn't, because when you see how they did the Black Amazon, how, with the exception of maybe one person, they were made out to be this, it's always regulated to being as far from the idea of the feminine as possible.
Mm-hmm.
Which is a thing that we kind of address a little bit with Black Panther, but at the same time, you got Okoye and Nakia and them walking around and, just bodying these dresses and these looks, with the heels and they're gorgeous. Mm-hmm. They're allowed that range, and in not Black Panther, in Wonder Woman, it wasn't allowed. Like, most people don't remember that, Diana's tutor from the movies, who actually spoke more than one lines, was Black. When people think of the Black Amazons, talk to them. When you think of the extras in Wonder Woman, what comes to mind? And it's always the ones who were on the battlefield fighting. And not just that, positioned and posed and shot as being physically larger, and intimidating in a way. And it's just one of those things where it's like, it's not bad on its own by any means. But when you have all of this history and context up against it, behind it, it takes on new meaning. Mm-hmm. So I feel that this movie did do great for women, but it pushed the idea of women as superheroes for a particular kind of way.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Same with Captain Marvel. I had my tears for that movie, but at the same time, it was a particular thing. We're regulated to the
Monica was first. Okay, I'm done.
Yes.
Wow.
But we're regulated to the sidekicks.
You have not heard me so many times, and me and Mary could go for days of our frustration over Monica Rambeau being shoved to the side, and we having to prop up Carol. Like, there's that moment in the comics where they like bleach Monica's skin, and Monica calls out Carol like, "You didn't call me. You didn't do nothing, and you just took the name. How dare you?" And it was like, and it's like, yeah, like it's like we all know for a fact they just gave Monica, like behind the scenes, they gave Monica the name that way they could keep the license and keep it from DC. But at the same time, you gave a black woman the first ability to be the first female black, like Captain Marvel. Yeah. So and then on top of the fact, you're regulating her to a side character as an agent of S.W.O.R.D. in WandaVision. What?
Yeah, it's this whole, I don't know. Our narrative gets narrowed and watered down to prop up the narrative of the hero, quote unquote. And I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that unless you do the work that like Ryan Coogler and crew did with Black Panther and that narrative with Killmonger, you know, unless you do the work of bringing up the hard truths of what it would be like to have black heroes running around and what we would want to do, you know, if we had these powers and the injustices we would want to see to, you know, because every time somebody talks to me about X-Men and how it's a metaphor, civil rights and so forth, and I'm like, but imagine, you know, you running around and facing all these things, but then you got Storm, who is black on top of all that. Like, in the back of my head, I can imagine her sitting in a room somewhere while Scott and them are going in about how hard it is to be a mutant. Like, bitch.
You don't even know.
If mutants were fine tomorrow, I would still have problems. Like, what? It. So nobody really wants to go there with that type of storytelling. And that's why I was hopeful, but at the end of the day, not expectant of Nubia potentially popping up in the new Wonder Woman, because you would have to address some shit that wasn't addressed during the first Wonder Woman, because I'm just going to say it, the crew was not equipped to address it.
So now with your story, what are you aiming to do with the character? If you can give us that information, because we know the book's not coming out until 2021.
Yes. My thing with this book is I want to talk about, if this was a real thing, what would happen at the intersection of superheroism and blackness? Like, it goes with everything else. We can't just go out there doing everything that, like, we physically can, but there are consequences that we have to be aware of. You know, that's why the talk is very different in a black household than it is in a white household. Y'all don't talk about this is what happens if you get pulled over. Like, that's non-existent in non-black households to a degree. And it's non-existent completely in white households. That's not a thing. So it's like I said, you know, you have these knockdown, drag out fights or whatever, you know, Batman versus Superman, Bruce Wayne over here thinking he's somehow going to go toe to toe with the son of Krypton, which I get it, man. You have valid grievances. And yes, however many thousands dead versus millions that would have died if Zod had done what Zod was going to do. These are all great gray area discussions. However, the minute that Superman is black, completely different outtake. It's different. It just is. And for people to ignore that, you know, how different? I mean, there's this intersection of hope where we're like, yeah, it's gonna be different, but we hope it's not that different. Meanwhile, in the back of our heads, we're all like, yeah, they'd have figured out a way to, I don't know, break down the chemical compound of kryptonite in order to replicate it, and then there would be cops carrying kryptonite bullets just in case this nigga show up and decide he want to pop off. It could be in the process of saving the whole damn world, but if they feel threatened,
it would change the fabric of everything.
It would be.
That's why when everyone's like, let's have Michael B. Jordan be Superman, you sure you want to do that?
Like I absolutely everybody talk about, there was the comics and everything, the death of Superman. If he was black, it'd have been a cop shooting.
Mm.
It wouldn't have been no grand, whoever it was that ended up, taking him out, not taking him out, fighting Darkseid, all this other stuff. No, it would have been some scary ass cop who doesn't really see the whole big picture of what's happening. So he don't know Superman out here fighting somebody trying to destroy the world. All he knows is Superman flying through buildings and knocking shit over. And, or he gets him up, or maybe it's one of those things where, I don't know. There's no I'm trying to reason and rationalize this shit, but there's no ration to it.
Oh no, you're great and you're valid. And like in the as you're explaining this, my first thought goes to Nick Spencer's Sam Wilson Captain America.
Fuck Nick Spencer.
Okay, yes, you're right. But the fact that he
punched that fucking Nazi in the face already.
But you're right. But he wrote Sam Wilson, and I will allow him to exist solely for this. Because he wrote Sam Wilson. He gets that one pass, but also he's a Nazi. So it's like, I have to give him his one. His
no,
one
you
W.
Don't.
My thing is, I'm kind of in the realm, like, I agree with you both, but where I would want to take it is, everybody is like, well, we wouldn't have such and such if such and such didn't exist. Yeah, we would have. One of us would have fucking did it.
Oh, you're right. You're right. Well,
one of us would have done it. You can't tell me that if we were allowed to, if we weren't gate kept to death, whatever, if we didn't have to jump over 80 million hurdles just to get the same opportunities, that Black Captain America wouldn't have come about. I don't buy it.
Yeah.
Because love Stan Lee, may he rest in peace, forever the GOAT. But if he did not create Black Panther, somebody somewhere would have created a black superhero, because we're doing it.
Yeah.
It just so happens Black Panther happened. And it only happened because nobody, like, we weren't there. And so someone else had to do it.
Mm.
That's what I feel that wholeheartedly about, not just that, but about any time anyone wants to say, well, if we decided, this person is horrible, what if we just throw out all their work? I'm fine with it. There's all this other stuff that could have come about, maybe didn't come about because this mofo over here was standing in the way. Like,
I love this. I love this
a
lot.
The good that somebody does not outweigh the bad. And people make mistakes. So I'm not saying that if somebody does make mistakes, that should be held against them, especially if they're out there doing good. But a lifestyle of hatred is not a mistake. That is a habit. That is personality. That is set in stone to a degree.
Mm.
And if I have to give up, if somebody today were to walk up to me and said, that it's Spider-Man in all his iterations, but I love Peter Parker first because he existed first. I love Miles Morales as well, but I grew up on Peter Parker. Because Miles Morales didn't show up until 15 years ago?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I was already adult by then. I grew up on Spider-Man. My grandmother gave me the Amazing Fantastic, like the one with him in it, first edition. It's in a what is that called? It's in a frame in my office.
Wow.
Because that's what she used to do. She got me into this, and I have loved Spider-Man from the beginning because he's who I could connect to out of everybody else, because no matter how much he tried, the world still hated him for shit he couldn't control.
Mm-hmm.
Damn.
So I fell in love with Spider-Man. And no matter how the world treated him, he kept trying to do right by everybody. They could cuss him to his face, but if he had to break his back to save them, he did it. And I connected with that, because that's what we do as people. And so if somebody tomorrow was to uncover whatever, and it was horrible about whoever, and they were like, if you got rid of this person and Spider-Man never existed, well, then that means we're in a world where only Miles Morales is Spider-Man, and I can get behind that.
I keep saying we just need to retire Peter and have Miles be the GOAT, but like no one will listen to me.
I can keep both. I mean, I can keep both. If they decided they wanted to make a Black Bruce Wayne, I could keep him and regular Bruce as well. I was that person who was like, when Batman Beyond first happened, I wasn't really feeling it, but then I fell in love with that show.
I love
So,
Batman Beyond.
I would
DCAU is the only DC that matters to me. Thank you very much.
I need them to stop remaking Bruce Wayne and give me a Terry McGinnis movie.
Ooh,
I'm
yes.
just saying. So I will very much give up things that I love if it means the world is a better place.
I respect that. Okay.
It'll suck, but at the same time, I mean, it's a catch-22. If he was never around to make the thing, then I would never know it was a thing to be missed. So,
what's your Hogwarts house, Al?
I'm a Gryffindor.
Hey, squad!
Woo! Gryffindor! We all Gryffindors here.
Yes.
I'm a Gryffindor with I like to call it Slytherin tendency.
Love it.
I respect that. Okay, so obviously we will have to have you back because this was amazing.
Absolutely.
This was great. This went way better than I thought it was going to.
Yes,
I thought I was going to be nervous. I wasn't nervous at all.
But no, so that we will definitely have you back for more installments. This was phenomenal. Obviously, go pick up these amazing books because they are definitely need to be supported. Like, because if Barnes Noble's going to keep cutting up, we need to support our own content.
Oh yeah,
like,
absolutely.
She sighed because she knows it's right.
I'm so vexed.
Oh yeah.
So, like, is there anything that you want to close with, that we could, like in terms of shout outs or anything like that?
Yeah, sure, absolutely. Like I said, A Crown So Cursed comes out. I believe that we have a new date because it was going to be September this year. But I think we have a new date of January 2021. So it's only a few more months.
Okay, all right.
It's only a few more months, but I mean,
fine. I can wait.
Fall 2020 is not going to be the best time to be trying to do anything.
That's fair, actually.
So, also, y'all, this book is going to be beefy, so we needed more time. There's also going to be a prequel that takes place between the war and Alice's time. So we don't go all the way back with Hatta and crew, but we do get a look at another Dreamwalker during Victorian London age. Yes, she's I can say that what's happening is there's some murderers happening in Whitechapel, London, and word reaches the Duchess, who is, the protector. Europe is her protectorate. Word reaches the Duchess, and they're like, we're trying to find this mystery killer, this man or whatever. And the Duchess is like, you're not going to, because that's a nightmare. We got to go take care of that. So that's what's happening.
Hyped.
It's been announced as well. I'm coming for all the classics. I got Jane Eyre.
I heard. Yeah, I heard that one.
Yes, Jane Eyre.
Excited about that.
Wait, what's going on? I didn't hear that.
I'm redoing Jane Eyre. It's going to be queer AF.
Yes!
And I'm going to be bringing up, what's his face? His wife, who is Creole from New Orleans. So I'm blacking that up as well. What else I got? I got my middle grade that I'm going to be working on, which Arthurian retelling.
Oh, yeah. There was that one. Are you still working on your magical school one too?
That one is, I'm still in the concepting form. That one hasn't been announced or contracted or anything. These are the ones that are official with release dates. Okay. But I'm putting it out in the universe that I want to do my magical school.
I stalk your Twitter feed. Oh.
It would be so much fun. I cannot I have already played that one. I think that's everything that has been announced that I can talk about at this point in time. So yeah, I have decided that I'm just gonna do these original stories, but also I'm gonna black up this classic canon as much as I possibly can.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You're like the Black American McGee that's taking everything that's going.
Listen, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it all. If I will go out and I will find these books, I will read these books. I'm like, what is a way that I can just cover this in blackness and just make them mad all over again?
Yes.
Beautiful.
I love it. All right. Thank you so much for being on this episode. We appreciate you so much.
Thanks for having me. This has been an absolute blast, and I would love to come back.
All right,
Yes.
dope.
We got her.
Okay, I had a couple ideas during the show, so we'll have to talk afterward. But don't forget that you can catch this podcast on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, YouTube, Spotify, all that good stuff, all of all podcast platforms. I'm working on iHeartRadio. 14 business days is bullshit, but all right. You can follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Blerd Grounds. You can check out the website on Comics Ground, Twitter and Instagram at On Comics Ground. Check out the website on comicsground.com. We'll put some hyphens between those words for you. That way you can check out all of our reviews, previews, solicitations, all that jazz every weekday for you good people. Elle, you are the guest. What is your closing statement for this episode of Blerd Grounds?
My closing statement. Oh, go put me on the spot like that. We coming for your stories. Die mad about it.
Oh, yes. Jasmine, what is your closing statement for this episode of Blerd Grounds?
Go get a blade so black, a dream so dark, go spell check, and go follow Elle on Twitter because she's.
Yes. I love it. All right. And then
What's yours closing statement?
Oh, my closing statement? Oh, okay. My closing statement.
We never ask you.
Yeah, I usually just kind of say my own. Yeah, you're right. My closing statement is representation matters. Happy Black History Month. We need to keep this going. And I'm loving that we are able to have this platform and do this thing. So I'm excited to do more this coming week with Dr. Jones giving us more good stuff about Black History Month. We will catch y'all folks on our usual time slot of Friday for you good people. And we will catch you folks next time right here at Blerd Grounds. Peace out.